Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Alike. Brad and I are doing a discussion over Hoplomachus Victorum, Pandora's Ruin. At this point, the Hoplomachus Victorum base game review and run-through is up, so if you want to know our thoughts on that, you can go check that out. But this is primarily going to be over everything for the expansion. And I'm gonna get this out of the way. One, again, Chip Theory was very gracious and kind to send me review copies for this. So there's that. And two, this expansion is essential. I really like it.
I like the stuff it adds.
I have a few qualms with some of the stuff it adds, but overall, you know, all my negatives that I talk about in Victorum base game are fixed. Like I got very little negatives to say about Victorum now, just because clearly this was designed to it wasn't just me complaining about it.
Yeah.
Everything they were like, nope, fixing this, and it's all modular. It's really, really good. But I'll let you take it away, Brad. What do you think?
Well, I mean, the first thing I will talk about is probably one of the biggest things that gets brought up is the Mercury's boots.
Yeah.
Mercury's boots is an accelerated way to play this. It cuts the game time down by about half, maybe even less than that. I mean, it just depends on what you do and how you play. But where a normal campaign of Victorum can take 8 to 10 hours, you running Mercury's boots can go, 3, 4, like maybe 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
3 to 5 hours, somewhere. It just depends on what you're doing and how.
It's so interesting because in my Hoplomachus Victorum base game campaign that I did, I ended each week at roughly around six weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though you have 12 weeks to kill a Primus, you fight him early, it just ends the act and you move on to the next one. But every video was 2 hours.
Right.
Here, my first act with the Mercury's boots was 2 hours, and I was like, "Oh no, is it not going to cut the time in half?" And then it was hour, and then Act 4 was 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and along with that time deal, and what comes along with that is, I love one of the coolest things about that is how you get to kind of power up your character prior to jumping in.
Yes.
Because
based off your difficulty,
right?
Yeah.
So you get to kind of go ahead because it accelerates a lot faster in Mercury's boots, so you don't have those times when you're doing that long campaign to build up.
Yeah.
So this lets you build up before you start battling the.
Yeah, where you're like, I'll do another bloodshed, or I'll do a bloodshed. You even start, because your blessings matter a lot more, because in the Mercury's boots, like Brad was saying, you, depending on your difficulty level, you start with, like in Valiant, you start with 8 blessings. Mm-hmm. And I was like, 8? Oh my god, like, are we just gonna god tier through this? And it's like, no, spend your blessings, as many as you want, on hero upgrades, prowess, recruiting units, leadership, health, all of that.
Yep. And then the other part of this that I think is essential as well is the opportunity cards being able to be used.
Yeah, that was that Mercury's boots as well, or was that actually?
That was I think it was part of the setup for Mercury's boots, but it's.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you can spin them for mitigation and stuff like that, so you can use them for whatever, because the opportunities are little side quests.
Yeah, they're
So you can use them for those side quests, or you can just be like, no, I'm going to discard this and do that, and so that helps with your dice issues and stuff like that if you have that kind of stuff, or you can and I don't know. There's just having the accelerated setup. It's almost like a prelude expansion for Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, you're right.
You're starting off in a direct. You can go ahead and start off with a little bit of stuff instead of spending the first few turns to kind of start getting your person.
Yeah. No, and I mean exactly, because if you for example, I played in my campaign of Pandora's Ruin. I played Stygiana, and like I said, she kind of wants to be the first one out. She has a thing where it's like if she's the first unit deployed, she's not dazed, and she has combat lock and all that stuff. Well, if she wants to be the first one out, I mean, I got her 10 health almost immediately. I don't think I even did like really any sports just because I had a crew that I wanted. a really tanky crew, and she was able to stick around. But I mean, 10 health is super good. That's like your whole build, and by the time you're in Act 4 in base game, she was at 10 health by Act 2, and I'm like, all right, here's my god. And you're allowed to curate your build with the blessings in Mercury's boots to make your character better, then slowly do it. And it's like, oh, I'm finally here. By Act 4, my character's finally kind of good. Yeah, that's amazing. The fact that there's a new skill, navigation,
yes,
which is based off of how fast you move around the map. Thank God, because then that alone, which that was one of my upgrades, because I was like, it was funny, whenever I was playing through the Pandora's Ruin, I'm like, I don't know why you would ever go above 2. And then by the end, I got to a point where I was like, kind of wish I was at 3 right now. But I was at 2 at the beginning, and not having to go from, I don't want to do a sport, but I kind of have to, or spectate. Oh, now I can move 2, so I can go to the opportunity, I can go to the bloodshed. It's just so much quicker. Yeah, Act 1 I think would probably still be the same length because you're still kind of getting your groove going, but Acts 2, 3, and 4 fly by. And I will say, because the Scions are still swingy, like no matter who you're fighting, they're based off dice. If you roll hits, they're gross. If you roll misses, they're dumb. I think the Mercury's boots kind of trivializes a lot of it, at least in my experience, where you do become pretty gross. You become very, very powerful. That if the Scion rolls badly, you're gonna mop the floor with it. So understand that it is kind of gonna probably make the game easier for all those reasons, but I don't know, cutting the game length in half.
Oh yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah. Well, actually, the other major thing I think is with Mercury's boots is the overall. You have the way Primuses are set up. You no longer have 3 set. You can fight as many as you want.
Right.
And this, my biggest negative with the Vesuvius fight, where it's just an arbitrary difficulty thing, where it's like, oh, it's how many are in the stack. Well, that's removed. It's based off of how many Primuses you haven't killed. That's way better.
Right.
Because you have agency over how many you decide to fight, when and where. And the game gets more difficult the more you kill, because you ignore the static Primus fight where it's like, you're in Act 2 now, that you add an extra unit to the lineup. That doesn't come in until you've killed 4.
Right.
But it's like you have an advantage, you still have an advantage, even they have an advantage, even. And you get to pick where you go, which one you fight. This, I mean, now I know one of the modules is like Primus. It has there's a Primus deck. It wasn't until halfway through because I was trying to showcase everything when I was playing with it. And I'm like, oh, I guess the Primus deck doesn't even matter if you're playing Mercury's boots. I don't know why I thought that. It wasn't until halfway through where I was like, wait a minute, I guess you could just do the deck instead of this. But this I liked. You just aren't stuck with just 3. You now can be like, which one do I want to go after first? Which one is going to be better for me right now? And then, how bad is this going to be? Because it stacks. And it's just so much better. That alone ramps up Victorum a lot, the Mercury's boots. Especially with the Primus rewards, where instead of, in base game, you kill a Primus, you get 1 upgrade, and you fully heal. Here it's like, oh, you get 4 upgrades.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it kind of disgusting, because you're incentivized to fight as many Primuses as possible, because you're going to become a god by the end of it. But then it gets a little bit more difficult by the end. But I don't know. I don't know if it scales. I don't know if it's like a linear, linear scaling. I think you ramp up more than any of these modifiers. So it depends on what you're wanting. If you want an easier experience, Mercury's boots is definitely going to do it. But I think that's how you're going to make it quicker. Because if it made it harder, it wouldn't get quicker. You would slow down a lot more.
Well, and sometimes it's just funner just to go in and be a god and just wipe shit out too. I mean, sometimes in this way it's not as long.
Exactly.
And I will say, I'm not always going to play with Mercury's boots.
Right.
Because it just depends on my mood. Because Mercury's boots, where it has all of its stuff and everything, I still like I said in the Victorian video, I like that journey. Sometimes where I can play it over a couple of days and doing stuff like that. This is going to be a one day type deal. Yeah. You know, and stuff like that, or one afternoon or whatever. No, so it'll just depend, like, if I want to do the long campaign or if I want to do the accelerated.
Yeah, it's the best example I can give is kind of like, do you want the reward of meticulously doing a build? For the most part, I mean, I'm like a build of, you know, slowly doing the grind of increasing your stats and then having that satisfying reward where, like, it's a very good example of, even though the game took twice as long, I felt more satisfied winning against the Hydra with the Parthian than I did against Stygiana against Hoonloon. Because whenever I was fighting Hoonloon with Stygiana, I was like, I had to have played wrong. This is such a joke of a fight. Hoonloon showed up. I was like staring at it, saying like, "Am I reading this right? Am I understanding?" No, it's dead. Like my Act 4 is like 12 minutes. That it was not even close to being. I'm like, I guess it's dead. Yeah, all right. Versus, I intentionally built my Parthian this way. I built out the crew this way. I had these tactics this way. I knew what I was getting into. I didn't even look at what Hoonloon did. I was like, well, we'll figure it out. It's like I analyzed how the Hydra was going to fight, and I overcame it. That feels better than, well, that owlbear thing showed up, and I beat its ass.
Well, and also you told the story about how you had that one unit that was kind of attached to you.
Oh yeah,
and you kind of
had
a relationship.
He would roll like ass, and I'd be like, "Try again, be a teacher, lift your bow, aim better," and then he'd hit, and it's like, "All right." And then
you don't get that in a more. I mean, you do, but it's not in a longer campaign. You get more.
You kind of get that. Depth, what is that type of?
That,
you get that it's
attachment.
Oh, man, there's a phrasing for it where it's like the game isn't telling you a story, but you're making a story out of it. There is a phrasing for that kind of narrative telling where it's like, I put the story in the game, not the game telling a story to me. And yeah, you aren't going to get that. This Mercury's boots are if you want to play Hoplomachus Victorum, but you don't have, a week to do it. Now, I will say it is kind of unfortunate that it's like this Primus, like the way the Primus lineup works, that is so much better than the static modules that, Act 2 adds a end unit, and then Act 3 they deploy 2, and then Act 4 they deploy 2 with plus 2 HP. All that is separated out in the modifiers that is just based off how many Primuses you want to kill. There's just the things that Mercury's boots added were great. But I do kind of see why you wouldn't always want to do that, because you do miss out on kind of like the extra stuff that you, at the end of the journey, you're like, I did do that.
It's an outstanding option to have, though.
Yes.
Like to be able to cut a game in half time-wise, a long campaign.
Without sacrificing anything.
Right, so I mean, it's awesome to have that choice.
Right.
For a relatively small expansion.
Yeah.
Just adding that little bit of stuff cuts it in half.
That is true.
It was creative and done well.
Yeah. Now, the one thing actually about Mercury's boots that I don't like, and you're going to be surprised, I don't like the opportunities.
Really?
I like that you have the option to spend them as rerolls. That I like. I hate how they basically wipe the card, because I like seeing the opportunities on there and being like, oh, that's what I have to do. That's gonna make the opportunities are gonna tweak one of the bloodsheds, for example, because I'm gonna try and do this so I can get the reward. The fact that they're almost a gimme, because I killed a Primus and I'm OP, so I'm gonna kill the Primus, and I can choose that as an opportunity reward just to get it. I actually missed on, like, oh man, okay, I need to deploy my hero first and have it not take damage. That's fun to try and pair up with this sport.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
versus opportunities don't really matter. I'm just gonna go there, and that's also another stat you can increase how many you can hold.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't really care about them. I'm just gonna grab them and have them as rerolls. And the fact that you're not limited on how many you can spend. Again, I fought Hoon Loon, and I was like, I need to do 3 damage, 2 hits, reroll, 2 hits, reroll. You know.
Yeah, and at the end, it comes down to that sometimes. But I generally won't do the reroll unless it's like dire.
Yeah.
I try to keep those as much as, but it's just having that option.
Yeah. I think it's also whenever I was playing Ruin, a lot of the opportunities I had were hero prowess, and that's just an ability or a reward you get. So I had all the prowesses that I could want for what I needed. So then all the opportunities I had were just hero prowess, and when it came to the final fight, I didn't need more prowesses, so they were just reroll, 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 and there it is, he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you gotta kind of weigh your options. Again, I love everything that I added except changing the opportunities, but you don't have to play with it at all.
Yeah, and the new Scions are cool, other than that one I don't care for. I mean, it's not, I will never not play it.
Is it Crom Dub?
Yes.
Is that who you're talking about?
The the headless.
This one?
So it's a pirate spirit.
Is that what he was?
Yes.
Okay.
So like, his head is separate from his body. You can't damage the head until the body's dead, but when you kill the body, there's a bag, and if you pull, I can't remember how many chips, but if you pull a boon, then his body heals back up with 3 health.
Gotcha.
So, and then that happened to me a couple times in the fight.
Oh,
so
I see.
So it's like you pull a boon, it's like, God damn it, his body's still alive, so you can't damage the head.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and you kill it, and because it happened twice in that one fight.
Okay.
And I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And and stuff like that. It just gave me Primal vibes again on that one.
You had to do 600 damage, and then it's like, oh, heal a wound.
Right.
Hell no.
I mean, this isn't as hard as that, but it was just like, okay, I killed him. I can start going, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
It's like, do I just, redraw?
Right. Do I? Yeah.
But no, and that's not anything. I mean, when you have a stack of Scions that you're going to play through, they're going to need to be different. That is a different.
They are all different, yeah.
So.
Hoondoon was weird because basically its health was based, so like for details, for example, it's before rolling his dice each turn, so he had a stack of Banes that were his Chaos stack, and that would kind of like mess you up, but it's like, before rolling his dice each turn, you can remove a die of your choice for each Bane because he rolled every single die. But, like, for example, if you kept all 4 of his green out, and if he got 3 hits whenever he was hitting someone, he just immediately wiped them. So it's like, okay, I have 3 Banes in the stack, I'm going to remove 2 green, because therefore he can't get 3 hits. And then, after rolling his dice, his HP is equal to the rolled result, which my understanding was based off hits. Like, the rolled result of hits. So he had, like, this time manipulation thing, but if he rolls very low hits, he has 3 health. And it's like, so he seemed very swingy, but I could see him being, like, kind of all over the place because he would put chaos stacks in your camp, and that would be bad for you. But, yeah, whenever I fought him, I was like, based off my understanding of roll result is number of hits, that he would reset his health each round. And it's like, oh, well, I'm God tier, and you rolled 2 hits, so your HP is 2. So, again, that's all tied to the Mercury's boots kind of stuff, where I feel like the swinginess of the Titans is actually going to be way more in your favor, which makes sense,
right?
Because they want the game to be short.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is the major thing that was added to Pandora's Ruin.
There was the other little module.
Yeah, there was the... Now, again, I didn't do... Did you do the rival deck?
I did not.
Okay,
I was hoping you had.
No, because for some reason I was like, oh, this is the new system.
Right.
So you don't use the rival deck. But then I was like, wait a minute, you can just replace this with something on the... So, but what it does is now it's a new deck that will change how the rival... how the Primus fights work. Again, this is all modular, so if you get tired of the static combat modifiers, depending on which act you're in, it's now a new deck you can spectate to rotate, and it's just going to give you. It's not the biggest deck in the world and it doesn't need to be, because you're only fighting. I mean, I fought I think 4 Primuses whenever I did my Pandora's Ruin run through. But if you're doing a regular game, it's going to be 3. I love it as an option.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's boring as hell.
Yeah.
So being able to look and be like, oh, that is now a rule set like a Bloodshed or Sport would have. That's great. Then there was the Strange Sands. This is also a breath of fresh air, where the arenas now have a completely different moveset. Not moveset, but a completely different arena ability.
Yep.
And now they're double-sided. So the B side is what they were in base game. And then the A side is now completely different. And each time you go into it, you rotate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it changes because you have, 8 maps, but now you have 16 options.
16 options, yep.
Depending, 16.
And I can definitely tell you, this, like with the 2 sides, paired with the sports and the bloodsheds, radically change, because there were so many that I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that bloodshed, and it just happened to be the hardest one to do based off which side I was on. Like there was one, it was actually this one, the Limosian one, where it had that statue that would be neutral, but depending on who had the most health under it, it would ally with them. And I was like, I can't remember specifically what I had to do in the bloodshed to win it, but I was like, I don't think I can do this. This statue is just gonna kill me. Like, I didn't. I think I couldn't do anything to the tributary, or I had to not kill any units.
Right.
And I was like, if I hit them, or if they're gonna hit me, then they're gonna put their health in. Like this is gonna out, and then I'm gonna die because the statue's gonna shoot me. But these rules alone completely tweak and again, they said in their like unboxing, they try and see what they can do with current components, and they did. The sports and the bloodsheds, depending on which arena you're at, you're gonna play them different.
Right.
Which ones did you happen to play? Again, Kunlun is out. We have no idea what the base game or the.
Yeah, I did the one with the. Oh God.
I did Amazons, New Argonauts, Atlanteans, and Limosians. Those were the 4 that I did.
Yeah, so this one.
Oh no, I did Pluto's Refugees as well.
This one. I think I can remember.
Yeah, Limosians with the statue that would beam you from anywhere.
Yes.
The Pluto's Refugees was way better because it actually had.
I didn't do that one.
It had scary new monsters. That were actually now I guess I'm confused because isn't Cerberus a Greek creature, or maybe I'm just because like Cerberus is a creature in here, and I'm like, isn't this Roman?
Well, they all came from.
They're the same thing.
Greeks came before Romans, and Romans are based off of a lot of Greek stuff, so a lot of stuff carried over.
Yeah.
Because the Romans used Greek ideals. To form their.
Gotcha. But yeah, the Hades guards, that was better, but then.
I just like just having that option, not the option, but having that freshness, like you said, the breath of fresh air with all that stuff. I don't know. It was they were really smart in what they added in this box.
Yeah.
Like this was like a perfect expansion for a game, because it did exactly what, because it didn't change. Like you could still play Victorum the old way and everything, and it's still fine. But this is modular, which is the best kind of expansion. We've talked about that. We've said that multiple times over the years, and what they've added modular wise is really
because it's seamless of an expansion. The Mercury's Boots is the only one that drastically changes it, but not really. Again, they looked at, and they didn't add new maps.
Right. They
didn't add so it's not more. It's more content without more overhead.
Right.
So
they just altered the travel. Not the travel. the journey.
Yeah,
Of the deal.
like you're able to like, and whenever it's not like, oh, I have to like, oh, there's 2 new sides. It's no, I only have to learn this new side A, and then I'm still in Pluto's refugees, so I have to do another thing. And you flip it to side B, and it's like, oh, what was in the base game? Got it.
Yep.
But because of this alone, this small change, what you're looking at, where it's like, okay, that one I think I know I can do, and then you look and you're like, oh no, I'm on side B. Oh
Right.
no, that's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing with Mercury's boots that they changed was if you beat the shit out of the Tribune, you actually don't go to 1 HP. You just gain Scion influence.
Right.
Which that's also way better than being like, where it's like, wait, so mob justice, they just beat up my hero even though I can easily kill all of them? I like that a lot better. I think the Scion influence gain, it should be more of a threat than just spectating.
Right.
So it's like, even though sometimes you would be like, well, I'm going to spectate next turn anyway, so I'm just going to kill the Tribune and just go to 1 HP and then just fully heal. But really liked all of these. I mean, I thought the, where is it? Yeah, the new Argonians, side A, was everyone you have no attack, but then if you're on, or around the arenas, so you're no longer chained to someone.
Right.
So that, again, changes where it's like, oh, wait a minute. My archery team
Right.
sucks on this because I'm like, oh god, get the arrow, get the bows, and I'm out there and they're all tanky, and I'm like, oh no, it's just. I mean, I think I had one where I was standing on one of the weapon spots, and one guy came up and shoved me off of it, so I have low attack, and he's just like, haha. It's honestly genius that they clearly heard the complaints of base game, or maybe the majority of complaints, because I know this is still a highly rated game, but I would imagine it's a lot. It's more niche. It's solo only versus all the other ones.
Right.
But they, for lack of a better word, fixed everything about it. And then the last one that's in here, which is very small, honestly, is the Dark Days, where now every Scion has unique cards
Oh yeah.
that get thrown into the
Right,
sports
right.
and opportunities and bloodshed.
But those are kind of cool.
Those are cool. I think I came across one.
Yeah, I think of 1, maybe 2.
And I mean that's just really cool to kind of again add variety, individualize the Scions, have them kind of play more of a role than some background like you're way out there until Act 4. One other thing about Mercury's boots that I kind of noticed that I'm curious on your thoughts. What do you think about having to play all 6 weeks? Because in base game, you could fight the Primus, week 2, and then it ends act and you move on. This one, it's like you can fight the Primus week 2, but then you still kind of have to stick it around for four more weeks.
I didn't mind it because it still gives you that time to feel like you are doing. It doesn't rush it too much, because if you rush it too much,
I guess that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they still want you, I think, to still have a little bit of that journey feel.
Yeah.
And that not RPG feel, maybe kind of like where you're building your stuff up.
Yeah.
Because if you just went in, like if you like the character you were talking about, where you just bolstered up,
You're
like,
right.
fight, done, and then it's just like
That's true. It's like, why'd I set up?
yeah, exactly. So I mean, there's something about that beginning to end journey, and I think that's why it's I don't mind it, because it kind of just still gives you that little bit of feel of the regular Victorum.
Yeah,
still, but
that's
it's just
true.
a little bit more.
I think it was more prominent because in my base game I finished almost every act at week 6, and in Act 1 I also you had to finish at week 6. So I was like, is Mercury Boots really not going to be quicker? Like, because it's like it was 2 hours of Act 1 in both campaigns I did, but then whenever I was done with Act 2 and 3, I was like, oh, that was an hour. So initially I thought it was going to be a problem, where it's like, you're making me stick around for 6 weeks. I already did that. But then it's like, oh no, it very quickly becomes, oh, setting up for a bloodshed and they're all dead. All right, that's 1 week, and now I'm going to spectate. That's another week.
Right.
Oh, if you're taking a harbor, it's like, oh no, that's 2 weeks. Oh geez. So that was interesting, but I think it ended up working out. Yeah, like there's not a single stinker of a module in this expansion, and there's only 4, and you might be like, really, that's it? It drastically, like, I went from a 5 to a 7 to, we'll see where I'm at whenever we talk about Final Fantasy. But where do you think they go from here? You think they're done?
I don't think they're.
Because here's I mean, actually, this is kind of, it's not a negative, but I am a little upset, even though in their unboxing and stuff on this, they did address it. I don't know the guy's name, unfortunately. I'm sad they don't have Scion epilogues.
Yeah.
That bums me out. This is such a cool addition, because every character has a little small paragraph when you beat the Scion, and they don't have it for Pandora's Ruin, so they don't have it for Houndoom, Kromdub, Set, and the Chaos Dragon. But he specifically went out and was like, that's too much work, I don't want to do it. Yeah. For all intents and purposes, that's what he said. And I get it.
The only thing, I mean, gosh, I don't know, because you're not going to add more map crap.
You don't think so?
Well, because, I mean, this is, I mean, these are the countries or parts of the world already.
Oh, you're right.
So it's like they'd have to have a whole nother map and everything.
No, you're right, because that's what I was going to say, that's what I'd hope they'd add, is more maps.
Maybe more stuff like this to make more stuff happen on the maps they already have.
Yeah.
Like have a CD side to have.
Yeah, like 2 more versions.
Yeah. But I would say like that.
Yeah, you're right. They would have to do a whole new map.
Update this.
Yeah, because it doesn't fit everything.
I know.
But
which surprises me, because that's one thing. Like, Chip Theory thinks about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of surprised that it doesn't.
Yeah,
that was because I was unboxing and putting all this stuff. I was like, wait a second, am I doing something wrong? Because they wouldn't do this.
Yeah, I mean, they really pump out the opportunity chips, so those definitely don't fit. And I noticed it from the beginning though, because this doesn't hold all the dice.
Yeah, that was my very first thing I noticed when
And then I was looking at it, and it's like, oh, it holds the dice you roll the most. I was like, that's all of them.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why not hold it in this thing?
Yeah, so I mean, it would just be, like, I think the biggest thing they could add would either maybe more Scions. Maybe like a little pack where it has the Scions. Another double-sided thing of this. Get some brass mags out there on these bitches. And
brass mags would be hot. Yeah, for all the heroes.
And then we've already got the stuff coming over from Hoplo.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're done.
But
because of this, because of the Pandora's Might, you now have. Because I was gonna say more heroes. Well, they did.
Well, I think they're. I think they're done with remastered.
I think they're done here too.
This I could see being like smaller.
Yeah.
Not anything. They're not going to do anything big like this.
Yeah.
It's going to be card stuff like this.
Maybe like the Aprilis and the
maybe
Fool
they'll
stuff.
come out with on their site like a
real granite.
Oh God! You remember when this game was coming out, Victorum, when they were sending reviewers actual gladiatorial swords.
Were they really?
Yeah, not everybody, but like Tom Bowser got one. There was a couple other big reviewers. They got a gladiatorial sword that said like Victorum across it, and it was
Andrew. What the hell, man? Where's my sword? I have a wall of replica weapons. Where's my Victorum sword?
So it was just but I think
it'd be like super ungrateful.
I think maybe getting an updated of this. But
you're talking about cosmetic upgrades.
Well, the cosmetic.
These are nice.
But those are nice.
Those are sexy, and these are full.
Oh yeah, I would think the biggest thing though would be that they could do would just be small, like the arenas and maybe more Scions.
Maybe more Scions.
I mean, and brass mags. Like they could do a game found project of brass mags for your leaders, and the Scions, and then a little card pack of that with the card pack of that, and then toss this as an add-on, an updated version of that as an add-on.
So you're pretty much talking about just cosmetic upgrades,
more or less.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, these are not cosmetic.
Those are, but here's where I'm thinking, and I could be completely wrong. They could just be they could have people shaking their fists and at their gates more Hoplomachus. I don't think they're gonna do that.
They may not,
but because they, at least the one guy, specifically didn't want to put in the work for understandably so. I'm not saying like what a lazy piece of shit, but he specifically didn't want to put in the work to do the Scion epilogues. I think by having Pandora's Might and bringing over 8 more heroes, I think you got your variety. You got your stack of bloodsheds, your stack of sports, your stack of opportunities, and then your 16 or so heroes, and your how many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Scions. I would have said more maps, like actually more arenas, but then you brought in the fact that it's printed on the shore. I'm like, oh yeah, they can't do that.
So if you read between the lines, though, and the reason I don't know if they're done with this is because every one of their other IPs that they've done, they've announced that it was over. Cloudspire. This is the last thing we're doing for Cloudspire. Too Many Bones.
Oh, you're right.
This is the last thing we're doing for Too Many Bones. They haven't said that with this.
Yeah, or Burn Cycle.
But
they haven't done anything for Burn Cycle
yeah,
in a while.
But they've got, Elder Scrolls, God, that
Dude, I know
that had to take.
It's amazing.
So I anticipate here in 2025, maybe early 2026, there being either something Burn Cycle or Victorum.
Yeah.
And there will be more Elder Scrolls.
Well, they've already said that. It's in their rule book of expansion content.
Right. But I think I wouldn't expect anything big with this game by any means. But I could see it being.
So we're saying there's not going to be a Hoplomachus trope chest. There should be to combine both. That'd be hot.
I don't think there's going to be enough for it. They can't unless they do a whole other world map. But
if they did anything new, that would be it. That would be a whole new thing.
To go with your way, though, they could technically come out with more of these because they could just say the Vesuvius map and have it look different.
Yeah, you're right.
They could do another map.
If they were doing like the CD stuff, and then you still have the Limotions and all that.
Yes.
I mean,
like the Limoges, another whole map with the Limoges with a different theme set up on the board.
I would be ecstatic if they did a new map with a whole new set of 8, right, and then 8 new factions.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
They just announced when they're done with it, though, and I don't think they're done with it.
That's true.
Maybe remastered, but I don't think they're done with this yet.
I mean, now that your boy has it in with Chip Theory, maybe they're gonna watch my content and be like, never again. I'm supposed to talk to him at Gen Con this year. He's gonna see. Oh shit! I'm not here. I'm not. And Andrew. Oh God, that's probably what it's gonna be. But I don't know. I mean, if anything, if I could ask for anything that wasn't like brand new content, epilogue. These are so cool. But I mean,
you can pay me and I'll write an epilogue for you. I'll type up a fancy book and I'll type epilogues for you for the deals.
I don't think because that's the thing is he didn't do like the math off the top of his head, but it's like it's 4 new Scions with like again you have to do the 8, so that's already 32 new paragraphs, and then you have to take the new heroes and put it in with the old Scions. It's a lot. And I would not want to do that either. I wouldn't want to do this. Yeah. But he was saying that like he really appreciates that people really liked it. It is super cool and really kind of ties it in. Because I think he also said that each hero had like a personal connection to one specific Scion. Like I think Calliope, I think is... I don't know who actually has... I mean, it has Decimus on it, so I assumed it was Decimus, but this doesn't have any pictures. But yeah, we shall see. But the Pandora's Ruin, I actually say is a must expansion.
I mean, I don't disagree. Mm-hmm. I mean, at all. You know what? Really quick before we jump into deals, one thing they could do is come up with another big box like Victorum.
That's what I said.
And call it like Victorum or like Hoplomachus Victorum, like End of Days, Dark Days.
Yeah.
And where like this map is like ruined, like because like. Pluto has, done
like he won
deal or whatever, and now it's you like trying to rebuild.
I figured it out.
There you go.
It's right. Whoever is watching this, Hoplomachus, Greek themed.
Oh yeah,
they do Greek. It's the same game. It's like instead of Pluto, it's what is Pluto the god of? because of being a bitch. That's what he is.
Well, instead of Mercury's boots, you'd call it like.
Hey, it'd be Hermes.
Yeah.
Hermes boots.
Yeah.
It's the same game, but just it's the same rulebook, but they crossed out Mercury and just wrote Hades on it. They could retheme it and do a different pantheon, but no, I mean, again, if they were to end up doing all of their games as a trove chest, they could do a new map, 8 new locations, 8 new heroes, and more scions.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. As of right now, the Pandora's Ruin and stuff, I mean, this is a very, very clean game. And if you get the Pandora's Ruin expansion, it does not muddy it up in any way. So with that being said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
Well, Victorum, like I just said, is a 10 game, and this expansion actually makes it better.
It makes it worse.
So it's like, if you could go higher than 10, I would say that, but I'll give this a 10 expansion as well.
Yeah, so earlier with Hoplomachus, when I first played it was around a 5 because I could not stand the length and the overall gameplay. With going into it after understanding their games a little bit more, it went to a 7. This expansion brings it up to a 9.
Yeah.
I got no complaints with it. All my issues with the base game are fixed.
I just would love those brass mags.
Yeah, that's.
Can you imagine the dragon with a brass mag on the deal, and the heroes with their swords and their bow and arrows?
Ah, they'd be sexy.
That would look so good on the board.
Come
on, Gilly.
It really would. I'd be surprised if they didn't, because Too Many Bones has brass mags. Burn Cycle has brass mags, surprisingly. But Hoplomachus does not, and I'm assuming Elder Scrolls
Cloudspire won't, because it just has too many.
Every hero is unique. You don't have like a hero in Cloudspire, so that wouldn't work.
And we think
Elder Scrolls definitely will. They'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what's kind of weird though, because we just did our review of a remastered will be coming out. But even for how good of components that they have, they kind of fuck up in some way with this, which is nice, but it's like, oh, well, now it's kind of useless because it doesn't hold everything.
That's the first big error I've seen from
the boats!
Well, the boats you can just... Yeah, the boats are rough. But I mean, as far as...
This is like a weird oversight that they have whenever
But this is the first thing, like...
Especially
organization-wise, I guess I should say, that I've seen that they've had an issue with.
Yeah, where how you're seeing it now is, that's it.
Yeah, like the card decks won't.
Especially because one of the things is adding in cards. And that's the thing, is like, I think the sports and the bloodshed still might fit.
Right.
But the problem is if you're playing Mercury's boots, well, now the holders for the Primuses don't matter.
Yeah.
But the opportunities definitely don't fit because you're adding new ones, and then they have like a mini expansion pack, and then you also have a million opportunities that don't go in there.
Yeah.
3D printer to the rescue. Oh no, it's too long. Unless you like
do it in half.
Yeah, and then glue them.
Yeah, I can do that.
But yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, this expansion really amped this game up for me. So I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it around. You got anything else?
Nope, no, sure don't.
All right. Well, that's our thoughts on Pandora's Ruin. And let us know what you think of it in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.